And so we come, ladies and gentlemen, to the semi-final round of the British Amateur Ballroom Championship. 12 couples have been recalled, and they are 3, 25, 51, 62, 72, 96, 118, 155, 203, 207, 222, and 247. Thank you, couples. Your first dance, the waltz. It's very nice that dancing is recognized internationally and throughout the world. And I've been asked to draw to your attention a special presence this evening. Could you please welcome the President of the Japan Sports Association, Mr. Takayuki Anzai. And also, Mrs. Emi Anzai, the sister of Her Imperial Highness, the Empress of Japan. We thank you very much for being here. The second dance, the Foxtrot. The directors of leisure parks have asked me particularly to draw some excerpts from 2 pieces of correspondence which they thought they would like to share with you and which is very appropriate for this evening. And they are excerpts from 2 letters which they have received. The first commences, my late uncle, Prince Alessandro de Merode, became an ardent convert to the delightful and exciting world of dance sport. He was convinced of the value of dancing as an international sporting activity. Such was his interest that he became a president of a dance sport association and keenly followed dancing whenever the opportunity from his other responsibilities as former vice president of the International Olympic Committee and president of the International Medical Commission for Sport allowed. I take this opportunity to extend my best wishes to the Blackpool Dance Festival 2004, and it's signed His Royal Highness Prince Almery de Merode. And we'd like to continue, ladies and gentlemen, with the third dance, the tango. And once again, ladies and gentlemen, the organizer and the directors of the company have asked me to read out a very short extract from another piece of correspondence. And it simply says, I address my best wishes for a successful festival to the organizer, participants and spectators at the world's leading dancing event, the Blackpool Dance Festival, featuring the British Open Championships. And it's signed Prince Albert of Monaco. And the last dance, ladies and gentlemen, the quick step.
Here's Stefano and Annalisa of Italy. Although the young lady is rather small for this gentleman, they do dance very well together, and they have improved tremendously over the last year or so. Beautiful swinging waltz. Marat and Elena from Russia. Although their quality is good, they're not quite in unison with each other, and the man for me pulls back.
Yeah, it's a little bit hard in the shoulders.
Paolo and Sylvia, beautifully together. Lovely synchronization of their head movement from his action. And very good depth of quality. And here we have a very strong couple from Germany, Sasha and Natasha. Again, this couple have worked very, very well on the technique and the body fluidity. Maxim and Elena from Russia. Very slim couple with good volume of picture. Lovely foot point in the same foot lunge. He could do a little more with his foot on the return to the floor.
He'll learn when he sees it. It's a great opportunity for the couples to develop their dancing, watching these slow motions.
And the English couple, Warren and Christy.
Hoping to make the final again this year, I'm sure.
Yes, very well together in the speed of their leg action.
Beautiful.
Much improved. A little roll to get out of trouble. Federico and Genny of Italy. Very determined young man in his dance.
One of the many good Italians.
Yes, they work both on their strong leg action and the picture that they are able to produce with their top line. Domen and Monika from Slovenia. Quite a new couple, but are getting very much together. Very good pivots. Arunas and Edita from Lithuania. Whisk into pivots and into a telespin executed.
Beautiful dress. I wonder whether they should change it for the final. As some of them do.
Rather exuberant from Benedetto and Claudia. Very lot of vitality and discipline from this couple. Domenico and Gioia from Italy. Yes, and they look to have a very good night tonight. Very well together.
Just a funny left leg there on those pivots from him.
From Italy, another couple, Andrea and Sara. And a lot of activity in this quick step. Throw away oversway.
Mr. Mackenzie, good evening to you.
Good evening, Brian.
24 years organising this festival, and I remember right at the start and meeting your mother. That's more than a year or two ago, isn't it? It must be about the first year when you brought her in to have a look at the dancing, and you've made some changes since then, of course, over the years.
Yes, there have been some changes. I think one of the first changes I did was the senior Latin was always on the Saturday with the team match.
Correct.
And as there are not as many competitors in that, we thought it might be better to move the senior Latin to the Monday, and we then started the under-21-year Latin Championship on the Saturday, which proved a great success.
Well, all the changes there hasn't been any bad changes, has there, over the years? I can't think of anything that's changed that you've made, all of which seem small and yet have been important enough to justify the changes, but have not proved to be really effective.
Well, there aren't that many changes, I don't think, but I'm just trying to think, actually, of one or two of the smaller changes. But at the moment they elude me.
Well, it's the whole package of the festival is so finely tuned that a lot of people don't even know there's any changes have taken place. This year possibly a little bit more significant because of the two Rising Stars events that you've introduced. Are you happy with the success of those? Certainly the numbers.
Yes, that has worked. It is extremely hard work, because it means on the first Friday we have to start early in the morning, and on the Saturday early in the morning with the qualifying heats for these amateur Rising Stars. And then we have to work the whole of Sunday because the Congress, whether it is the Ballroom Dancers Federation or the British, yes, the World Congress, they have unfortunately had to move back into the Spanish Hall, so they are there for both the Saturday and the Sunday, thus releasing the ballroom for these two new competitions. But it was a great success. I think we had something like 357 entries in the Rising Star Amateur Latin, which is extremely good.
Fantastic, fantastic.
And this means that your under-21 Latin or your under-21 ballroom can have two events to dance in instead of just the one.
That's right.
The reason why we had to stop the under-21 dancing in the amateur ballroom and the amateur Latin is because on the Wednesday, which is Pro Latin night, that is the busiest night of the week, and if you have the under-21 ballroom, the amateur ballroom and the Pro Latin, plus all the people who adore to come and watch the Pro Latin, then you would go well beyond the fire limit, and therefore we had to reduce the numbers, and this is the only way I could do it, by stopping the under-21s dancing in the championship.
But by introducing the new event, as you rightly say, they can still dance in two events, which makes their trip worthwhile because they come from so many countries all around the world.
54 countries this year.
55, that's fantastic.
Yes.
Absolutely fantastic.
Yes.
What is it, do you think, Mr. Mackenzie, that has continually drawn our overseas friends and fellow dancers to Blackpool? We know that the history is a magnet, but it draws them every year. What is the magic that draws them here?
Well, possibly it is the beautiful ballroom, because abroad there are not so many these type of buildings, and I think they utilise a lot of sports stadiums for their events. But also it is the history behind it, and we have used all British judges from 1946 until last year. And the British judges are highly qualified, great integrity, and I think a lot of the foreign couples like to be judged by the British judges. This year, though, we have introduced two foreign judges on the evening panel, one on the daytime panel, and one for just one morning on the Sunday panel. Now, this had been thought about very carefully over the last few years. Should we include foreign adjudicators? The last time we used a foreign adjudicator was in 1938, when it was Hans Buchler, I think, from Austria. So there are a lot of fors and against, and some people are very traditional and want to stick with only British. Other people feel it could be quite a good idea. So it is an experiment this year, and we will evaluate it and see what will happen next year. Possibly they might only use one foreign adjudicator, or none, and then go back to one foreign adjudicator the following year. It's just a matter of balance, really.
Yes, I've heard many comments both in favour and not so much in favour. And one overriding thing that I've picked up from our overseas friends is that one of the things that makes this event unique in the whole world of dancing is not only the incredible quality and knowledge and experience of the judges and their integrity, but the fact that it is a purely British panel of judges, whereas there are around the world very many very important events, but they have a mixed international panel.
Yes.
And the uniqueness of having just a British panel seems, on balance with most of the people I've spoken to be an added attraction. But one can't deny the quality of the judges that you've had. I have done an interview with Rudy and with John, and of course they're great guys.
And they are ex-British champions also.
Both of them.
Yes, yes.
We actually discussed the feeling when you open the first letter you ever get, and we were comparing notes just before and after the interview, and I remember lying on the bed saying, I can't believe it, I can't believe it. And Rudy was saying almost the same thing, because that is the absolute respect with which this event above all, and the esteem in which it's held. Rudy said a very important thing that has escaped me, and I think many others, the importance of having a separate room for the judges, away from the dancing, away from everybody.
Yes.
And of course, no, I mean, it's always a fun time, the discussions that go on there, and nobody ever talks about the dancing because you need that relief from the high concentration level. But you would agree then, I think, that although there's been some minor changes, it's still fundamentally the same now, 24 years on from your taking over the reins.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, all the same competitions, except for the two that we've introduced this year. We're still the same number of days. There's still the Congress every weekend, and we still have live music to the Empress Orchestra, albeit the musical director has changed, but it is still the same type of music. Not necessarily what everybody abroad dances to, but it's just the unique Blackpool sound, really.
Yes, 2 months before Blackpool, those of us who have an advanced practice night in our studios, the requests come in, can we have Blackpool music? Because it is distinctive, and they want to get into the mood, and there's this one CD that opens with the fanfare, and that everybody perks up immediately because they know that people are coming on for the first round, or they're waiting with expectancy to hear their number called. Of course, this is, for many people, a memorable but rather sad week, because we understand it's the last week you'll be the festival organiser.
Yes, the time has come, I'm afraid. 24 years as festival organiser. I was 2 years prior to that with Mr. Bill Francis, who unfortunately had poor health and died in 1981, which was the year I took over. And prior to that, of course, I was employed by the Blackpool Tower Company in the publicity department. So it's 30 years with the company and 24 years as organiser.
So what are you going to do?
Well,
all the spare time.
Well, I have various ideas. I think I might do some voluntary work on the talking newspaper for the blind.
Oh, how wonderful.
I have a friend who's been doing that for 30 years, and she thinks I would quite like to, or I might be an asset to them. I hope so. Thought I might go back to night school and do a language,
Oh.
But, and also I would like to do French polishing.
Would you? Why? Where's the French polishing come from?
Well, I've got quite a bit of antique furniture, and over the years, well, it's got rather hammered, I suppose,
yes,
with my children and then the grandchildren. And, well, especially the dining table, which is solid mahogany, it really is not looking its best. So I thought I might have a go at that.
Oh, that's wonderful. So you're going to be very busy?
Yes.
Yes, well.
But then Eric does say, if you're going to be that busy, you're not going to have time to really do anything else. So he wonders, you know, how I would have found time to go to work when all these things that I'm planning to do, it's a good thing I'm retiring.
It'd be nice if you do the talking newspaper, because your voice is very clear. I remember there was a radio series from the north of England about dancing, and you did a programme for them, and I've still got the tape in the car.
There were several of us that did it, yes. And they talked a bit about my aspect of the dancing. I'm not sure if Marcus Hilton did one, and
I think he did,
David
yes.
Roberts.
Yes, that's correct.
And then they played some music in between. Because I think I said that I remember Richard Gleave saying that Days of Wine and Roses was one of his favourite foxtrots.
Yes, and they played it, yes.
Yes, I can remember that. Yes, that seems a long time ago.
Well, it's not all that long, really. Yeah. It's all a matter of perception. But I remember you said in that programme that you wanted Blackpool to be and remain the first and foremost festival of dancing in the world. And certainly under your direction it has been, and I'm sure it will remain so. And so, Mrs. Jill Mackenzie, I'd like to say on behalf of all the dancers here and all the dancers that are not here, the love and respect and affection in which you're held, and we wish you great health and great enjoyment in the future.
Thank you very much, Brian. Thank you.
May we have the judges, please? And so we come, ladies and gentlemen, to the final of the British Amateur Ballroom Championship. 6 couples have been recalled, and they are 3, 25, 51, 96, 155, and 247. Thank you, couples. The waltz. And the second dance, the foxtrot. The third dance, tango. And the final dance, ladies and gentlemen, in this championship, the quick step. We have something very, very special for you. The saddest news possible occurred last weekend, and very, very hastily and very gratefully everyone pulled together and made a tribute to somebody very special. And we thought it was only fitting at this point to conclude the dancing of this particular week with something unique for a very unique person. So I'm going to ask the professional finalists to come back on the floor if they would. If we could welcome you back, couples, thank you, all 7 of you. And they are going to be joined, ladies and gentlemen, by the 6 amateur finalists from yesterday. Can we welcome you couples onto the floor? And something very special and unique, ladies and gentlemen. A waltz to the desert song, in the memory of Bobby Irvin, MBE.
A most moving and wonderful tribute to a wonderful, outstanding lady. Moving in every sense. The dancers moving around the floor. The audience all moved to their feet to pay tribute to Mrs. Bobby Irvin, MBE.
And this corner, ladies and gentlemen, forever Bobby's corner. Thank you so much, couples, for that wonderful gesture. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. And this, of course, has been recorded for posterity, and I'm sure is a very, very special moment for everyone. And I know that when the appropriate time comes, Bill will take great comfort from seeing that. Thank you very much, couples. You did a wonderful thing. We appreciate it very much. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you.
And here we are now in the final.
Beautiful close of the feet there, beautiful artistry. And the tail suit and her floater work so beautifully together on the pivots. Paolo and Sylvia, also with lovely big floaters. Very good heel turn. Warren and Kirsty.
They look really classy. Their waltz is often quite beautiful.
Federico and Genny are really so pleased, well, as they all are, to make the final, of course, but here they look very, very happy. Very good reverse wave. Her feet are tracking his beautifully.
Tremendous distance they're achieving in this foxtrot, Pat.
Yes, they certainly are, and she is matching him beautifully.
Yes, there's the dress change, the white dress for the final. A beautiful, beautiful dress too. So was the other one, but this is particularly attractive.
White is the most beautiful colour, I think, in Blackpool, and many, many finalists always choose that. That little leg action could be a little more delicate. And this strong couple from Germany, the physique is very powerful, and they're using it to a very good advantage.
Yes, he improved tremendously, I think, Pat, and lost some of the hardness that used to mar his backline. He still looks tremendously strong and masculine and wonderful, but he just lost that little bit of extra tension. That was a superb contra check.
It was, certainly.
Moving on to the tango now.
And the intensity in his face is tremendous. Whisks again, very good movement in the tango. Warren and Kirsty, the tango is possibly one of the difficult ones to control because of their extra height of a lot of the couples, but they are managing to do this.
Yes, it's improved a lot, but still presents a challenge.
And everything in a couple when you're going to Blackpool has to be clear, and this young gentleman has improved his hairline.
His hairline, that's an interesting comment, Pat. It's something people perhaps don't always consider, the hairline of the man. You're quite right, of course. Quick step time.
Yes, a lot of vitality from this Lithuanian couple. Jumps and springs and skips, very well together. Paolo and Sylvia again have got so much energy and vitality at this late stage.
Yes, they'll keep going forever.
But it is the discipline of all the weeks and weeks beforehand, and they just hope that they can produce this high quality when needed.
Skippity, 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 skip. Skippity, skippity, hoppy, hop.
Sasha and Natasha, again with the strength that they have, and now the unison of their bodies makes them look excellent.
But it's my privilege to reintroduce to you all the officials who have taken part during the week, starting with the daytime adjudicators. From Italy, Mr. Luca Baricchi. From Exmouth, Mr. Geoffrey Dobinson. From London, Miss Doreen Freeman. From Kenley, Mrs. Alison Fulham. From Woking, Miss Lindsay Hillier-Tate. From London, Miss Barbara McCall. From Edinburgh, Mr. Jack Reevely. From South Godstone, Mr. Michael Stylianos. From Kenley, Mrs. Marion Welsh. And our additional adjudicators on Sunday morning, from Keston, Mrs. Barbara Grover. And from Japan, Mr. Tetsuo Kazuka. And our evening adjudicators, ladies and gentlemen. From Kingswood, Mr. Len Armstrong. From Chalfont St Giles, Mr. Michael Barr. From Scotland, Mr. Donny Burns, MBE. From Cobham, Mrs. Hazel Fletcher. From Woking, Mrs. Janet Gleave. From Rochdale, Mr. Marcus Hilton, MBE. From the United States of America, Mr. John Kimmins. From Sanderstead, Miss Carol McCrailed. From Ormskirk, Miss Margaret Redmond. From Kingswood, Mr. David Sycamore. And from Germany, Mr. Rudolf Trautz. And my compatriot, who was the chairman of the afternoon judges, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Richard Gleave. Now, unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, due to the circumstances earlier in the week, some things which we'd planned to do did not take place. And in fairness to all concerned, we're going to try and get everything done as planned. So we do have 2 extra things we need to do now, which are in fact a great pleasure. So first of all, before we do the presentation, could I ask the festival organizer, Mrs. Jill Mackenzie, to come onto the floor, please? And as I said, we had planned to do this earlier in the week, but for obvious reasons that wasn't possible. But I would now like to invite to the floor, for just a few moments, Mr. David Caulfield, the Vice President of the English Amateur Dancers Association.
Thank you very much, Peter, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here on behalf of the English amateurs to pay tribute to a very exceptional lady, Jill Mackenzie. And before you take fright, I have promised your chairman that I will be exceptionally brief. Firstly, I have an apology. My chairman, Rita Thomas, would so love to have been with you tonight. She is unfortunately very unwell, and she sends her good wishes, and she sends her personal thanks to you for your help and your cooperation over all the years you've worked together. I also come tonight, not just as the Vice Chairman of IADA, but also as a competitor. Mary and I first danced in this championship in 1968. And we've danced in it, as you may know, every year since. For 24 of those 36 years, this lady has been the organiser. I therefore feel quite able to speak on behalf of the many, many thousands of competitors who've stepped onto this magic floor and who've enjoyed and experienced Blackpool. Without the organisational ability of this lady, that magic would have been much diminished. Sandra, we wish you well. What an act you've got to follow. When I tried to think of some things to say about Jill, I could only really, but with far less eloquence of course, repeat what had been said by Peter Maxim on Saturday. And that is that we have a lady here, quite unassuming, but very firm, and in my personal experience, immensely fair. We have a lady who has never sought the limelight, but a lady who is clear and obviously in charge, and that's tremendous stuff. I believe, and would like to believe, that now and for many, many years to come, I can continue to have the honour of calling this lady my friend. And I believe, above that we shall all remember her as the greatest organiser of the greatest festival in the world. Jill Mackenzie will always have, she will always have, from all of us, we will always say the same thing. She won all 5 dances. And now I have a presentation to make.
Ladies and gentlemen, just to conclude this section of the event, again, a special presentation from Ashley Froelich and the Empress Orchestra. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, our great, great thanks to Jill Mackenzie. And now, may I welcome onto the floor to present the prizes, the General Manager of the Blackpool Tower, Mr. Jeff Say. British Amateur Ballroom Championship for 2004. First, number 3, from Italy, Domenico Suale and Gioia Cerasoli.
They've given a very, very good performance tonight, and they look terrific.
And they were placed first in all 4 dances.
It's a beautiful dress she has on. I wonder, will they take those flowers back to Italy? I used to take mine back on the plane.
Second, number 247, Arunas, Bizokas and Edita Daniute from Lithuania.
Very good. I thought he dropped his body swing a bit in the quick step. It dropped it a bit short and not quite as fluid and free as sometimes.
They were placed second in all 4 dances. Third, 155, Sasha Karabey and Natasha Karabey from Germany.
Yeah, they look very, very pleased, which I'm sure they are.
A year's very good work done, and getting a just reward for it.
And they were fourth in the foxtrot and third in the other three dances. Fourth, 51, Warren Boyce and Christy Boyce from England.
Terrific dancing from them this evening.
Flashes of absolute brilliance, absolute brilliance.
They were placed fourth in the waltz, third in the foxtrot, sixth in the tango, and fourth in the quickstep. Fifth, 96,
Trophies on the floor.
Federico di Toro and Genny Favero from Italy.
Do you know, at times I thought they were the most complete couple in the final. And then it just got a little bit diluted, but at times...
And they were placed fifth in three dances and sixth in the quickstep.
Style, movement, really, really good.
Technique and discipline, they're really working hard on.
Number 25, Paolo Bosco and Silvia Piton from Italy.
Very good, weren't they? Very good.
Look a little disappointed, but that's the way it goes.
And they were placed sixth in the waltz and foxtrot, fourth in the tango, and fifth.
So that was a Rule 10 situation where there was an initial tie, both totaling 21 points.
So tomorrow night, ladies and gentlemen, we come to the end of an extraordinary festival. It's going to be a terrific evening as well. Please be upstanding for the Queen. Thank you and good night.
In England we have a saying about lucky numbers, and 7 is a lucky number. And it's 7 years ago, almost exactly, since I last spoke to you when you won the under-21. So it's a lucky number 7 for you tonight. So now the amateur champions are the British Open, which is considered by most people to be the greatest championship in the world. How are you feeling?
Very good. The feeling is very, very nice, of course. And we were very close 2 years ago, and this year it was the year, and we feel very happy.
Yeah, we feel very good.
Joya, have I said that correctly?
Yes, Joya is my name.
Yes, and you're full of joy, and undoubtedly tonight.
Yeah.
So you think the manager has stolen the trophy and put it in the box for you?
Yes.
I think so.
Well, we were hoping to get a nice shot of it, but we've had shots of that many years. What we haven't had is the first time I had a shot of you as the champions, winning all 5 dances. Did you feel the performance was good?
Yes, it felt quite good.
Our feeling was
good. It was,
yeah,
it was
we
very,
felt good.
It was very, very, very good in every department.
It was also very good atmosphere tonight. I think.
Well, that helps.
Very good
every
to
year.
dance.
That helps. And it was, of course, a great final. Some terrific dancers out there.
Oh yeah.
And there was a nice contrast between some of the dancers. Some were a little taller than you, a little broader than you, but you know, it's you came over so well, and you seemed to run the whole competition as you wanted to. I never saw you near anybody else. You always seemed to have a lot more space and time than everybody else. Was that a bit of luck, or was that just great skill on the driver's part?
Well, I have tried to stay away from all the other couples and find space, but anyway, you always need luck.
Well, yeah, there is
A bit of luck as well.
We all need a bit of luck, and luck
Yeah.
is separate, so congratulations to you.
Thank you very much.
And hopefully we'll talk again this time next year.
Yeah.
Well done.
All right.
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thank you.
And so, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a privilege to bring you these wonderful highlights from one of the most memorable Blackpool Dance Festivals of all time. It has perhaps been particularly significant this year in a variety of ways.
So many different ways that it's so fantastic to come to these festivals. We know that the dancing will be great, but we're never too sure of what the other possibilities of seeing these extra special things are.
Well, we started in 1985, so we've been doing it for quite a number of years now, Pat, and certainly on behalf of myself, I'm sure of you and of Quasar Video, thank you very much indeed for being part of this wonderful, memorable experience that we can share with you each year, and wish you well and success in your dancing. So it's goodbye from me and
And goodbye from me.